You ever wonder what sets a successful real estate agent from a mediocre one? Well, you're going to want to listen to this video because I'm going to be sharing exactly the secret sauce that you're probably lacking in your real estate business that can see you going from maybe doing 8 to 10 transactions a year to getting up to 40 transactions a year by just mastering this one real estate skill. I'm sure everyone who's watching this as a real estate agent has been beaten out on a listing presentation. So what we're going to be diving in and really unpacking so you understand the skills that me and my team use to nail every single listing presentation that builds so much trust with the sellers that we get the listing almost every single time. And that secret sauce is going to be your listing presentation. This is where a lot of agents just fly by the pants and don't have any sort of systems in place that make this a repeatable process. So my whole thing in real estate business is you want to have a system in place for every single thing you do, because that way it's repeatable. You're able to effectively deliver on this every single time, and then you can scale up, improve it, or take out things that you know may not work. And I'm not joking, having a solid listing presentation is what can take a mediocre agent doing literally no transactions to having them go up to 40 transactions by just scaling up this one simple technique and developing a system that they can use in order to build that trust to get more listings. So let's dive into exactly the most effective way to do a listing presentation. And this begins long before the actual for sale sign goes in the lawn and goes up. You need to be having that system from day one, from exactly when you first come in contact with whoever the prospect or lead is. So this starts with setting the expectations for the listing presentation when you go to meet the prospect in person. I know some agents might do this through text or email, but the most effective way to set these expectations every single time is to have a quick call and a quick conversation with your prospect before you head over there. And the whole reason why is first impressions matter. You want to set the exact tone right from day one so the expectations are when you come in this door that you're an absolute diligent professional that's going to have their best interests in mind and get top dollar for their home. And the beauty of what we do as real estate agents is this is a partnership with our clients. We need to view this as a 50-50 partnership where there's equal effort going in on both sides and there's expectations on what you expect from them and what they expect from you. And that's what's going to deliver a successful transaction, is when you have expectations laid out from the front. So you want to do that on the phone before you head over there to meet them in person. And the main reason for that is you want to qualify them. You want to ask great questions where you can get some really good information and understand what they're looking to do. Because that's ultimately our goal, is to help people to make better real estate decisions that are going to benefit them in their life or get them to where they're trying to go. The next step is walking through the house. This is where a lot of agents get it wrong, where they think they're just going on a quick tour to check everything out. This is when you got to be doing the bulk of your questions. It's very, very simple. Say if you're walking through a home and you see that it's an older seller that has some grandkids, talk to them about their grandkids, ask them a question. Or as you're going through, ask them questions. One of my favorite questions to ask is, when you guys bought this home, what was your favorite part about the house? Because when you transition to your listing presentation where you go through how you're going to sell the home, you're going to highlight their favorite aspects of the home and talk about how your marketing campaign is going to accentuate those features, which is going to really think that they're listening to you. But the main purpose of walking around the home is to build that trust even further, because it's usually the first interaction you have with someone as you're touring it through. So during that time, we want to build as much trust with asking the best open-ended questions that we possibly can and asking a few personal things. You see some really cool traveling photos, tell them to talk about their trip. It's really not that difficult. The next thing that we do is a gift appreciation. This is something that me and my team started doing for all our listing presentations, is we just get people a bottle of wine and we just like to thank them for allowing us to come into their home. It just sets the framework that, hey, these people are in a giving mentality and they gifted us stuff. People just love getting gifts randomly. I learned this from some other real estate training that, a lot of people just expect to get gifts at the end of a transaction, or they expect to get a gift at, say, Christmas time or all the seasonal holidays that people and real estate agents love to go out and treat their clients. But getting them a gift when they're not expecting it, especially the first time they're meeting them, just raises the bar, and they think, oh man, these people are really thoughtful. They took the time to go out and get us a bottle of wine. Then we transition to the part where you sit down and you give your whole spiel about how you're the greatest real estate agent in this universe and you're going to sell their home for more money no matter the competition, no matter who they're interviewing. You got the secret sauce that's going to get them top dollar. And yes, this is super awesome, but where a lot of people go really wrong here giving their presentations is they don't make it interactive. They either got something on their computer or they got some paper copies of something and they're just reading it off mindlessly, just not even really paying attention. Where to deliver this presentation effectively, you have to make it interactive so they feel like they're a part of it. Where anytime it's looking at their body language and their things. If I see a seller start kind of looking off to the side, I ask them a question to re-engage them back in the presentation. I show them our 16-point marketing plan, and throughout it, I always ask questions like, what are you most excited about what we're going to do to get your home sold? And after each step, they mention it. And then the best part about that is they tell you what they think is the best. And so then you just accentuate that more in detail on how much, and you tell stories about how we used that specific thing to get Betty Lou's house sold 2 blocks down, that netted her top dollar after as well. So being observant is super crucial while you're doing this presentation, and make it as engaging as possible. The next part, this is probably going to seem absolutely mind-blowing that not a lot of agents have this down pack, is doing your homework. Know exactly what is sold and what's selling for and the price per square foot or whatever you do to deem property value, and have that dialed in. Nothing's worse than when they're grilling you questions. They're like, yeah, oh yeah, John's house sold down the street. Do you know what that sold for? And it's been mind-blowing from a couple of years of doing this and really understanding. I now will draw a line in my MLS tool and I'll go back 3-4 years of certain addresses in their community because people will reference this so far back of how far back a potential house sold back in the future. So you want to know everything that's sold on their block a couple years back, but you want to have a great understanding of the market and be able to speak to it fluently. That's where you can really deem your credibility, is if sellers ask me questions, we do so much market research that we can just speak of it right off the top of our head and we know what we're talking about. Laying down the framework. So what I mean by this is we've already set the expectations on the phone, but we just need to go over them once again on what they expect and what we expect from them. So the best question to start here is to ask your sellers, what do you expect in a real estate agent? And you just let them go off. They're going to say things like communication. Our last agent that we listed the home with never updated us once. We want you to get it, the home sold. We want marketing. We want staging. They're going to list all the things that they expect you to do. And you make sure you write those down and you know that. So if the person says, I've had a seller that flat out told me, I do not want to be contacted unless there's showing appointments or there's an offer coming in. You don't got to give me no updates. You don't got to give me nothing, where I've had sellers that want to talk a couple times every day. So setting those expectations on right up front are so crucial. So laying the foundation, and then you flip it back onto them. Then we ask them questions and get them to speak, and we share what our expectations is of them, that the house is going to be clean for all showings, that there will be no smells if they have pets, all messes will be cleaned up, that they understand that selling a home is very stressful and frustrating, and that people are going to want to go at inconvenient times. But if our home is listed for sale right now, we have to do everything we can to get prospects in through the door, and it's going to be a pain in the butt. And what the expectations are going to be for how much you're going to communicate to them, and talking about, hey, we're going to get showing appointments that end up being very last minute, where you're only going to have a couple hours to maybe get the house ready, and stuff like that, etc. Because what really gets people to withdraw their homes or it doesn't end up selling is they get frustrated with the whole sale process. So if you get that commitment and expectations that, hey, not only me as your real estate agent, I'm giving my all, but you're also giving it your all to get this home sold, makes that great partnership that's going to have success. And if you're someone that's struggling with your listing presentation, just comment your email address down below. I will personally send the listing presentation that me and my team use. But if you're someone that wants to take it a step further, we have bi-weekly mastermind training where we have top real estate agents in the Apex group that go over their listing presentation and their strategies to close more sales and get more listings. So if that's something you want to be a part of, that link's down in the description too. And here's going to be the most important part, and I call this the hook of the listing presentation. And a lot of people will think this is some sort of trickery to get their listing, but really the hook to me is telling stories of how you've helped people in similar situations have success. That is all we do as salesmen and as real estate agent to build that trust when we initially meet someone, is tell them a story about how you helped someone in their situation and what you did to overcome all those obstacles and speak to it. And yeah, you may be a new agent that doesn't have a ton of stories, but you can reference your team or you can reference people at your brokerage that you heard stories and amalgamate yourself of being part of the same process and or a part of that. And even if you're a new agent and you don't have a ton of stories on how you're going to have success, one, the people are going to know that you're a new agent, so don't worry. You don't want to make up stuff and lie. But if you're part of a team, share how other team members helped other people in this situation. Or even at the brokerage, align yourself with some top agents at your brokerage and get them to tell stories or have them come along with to your appointments with you just so you can get going. But storytelling is really the hook and what can cement you from getting the listing to not. And if you got some extreme value from this video here and you felt like you learned a lot on how to actually do a better listing presentation, well, hit that subscribe button. But you can also take it a step further. If you need personal help growing your real estate business, my Calendly link is in the description below. Book a call with me. Let's go over everything that you're currently doing to grow your business. I'm happy to help.